So listen, man, I am completely done with Joe Rogan, and I'm going to explain to you why. Now, I clicked on this video not because of Joe. I've already stopped watching the Joe Rogan podcast, but it was because it got recommended to me on my recommended feed, and it was with Georges St. Pierre, and it was a question, will GSP come back and fight Khabib, right? This is a big deal. That would probably be like the most legendary MMA fight, period, because it would be two GOATs going at it, right? Who's the greatest? That's essentially going to be the fight right there. So I click on it, and his bullshit dumbassery has basically stained his videos and his content so much that it's impossible to even watch something that's entirely unrelated to coronavirus and masks to the point where you're subjected to his idiocy. So they're talking about this. They're watching video footage of GSP training, and the trainer has a mask on below his mouth. And here's Joe Rogan's reaction.
And I'm like,
There you
hell
are.
no.
There you are, working with Freddie.
Yeah, and people are like, hey, are you practicing left-handed? I always been both
Switch
side.
hitter, yeah. I like how Freddie has a fucking... He's got a mask on his chin. What's that protecting, Freddie? Take that stupid goddamn thing off.
And I'm left-handed because
So that really right there really pissed me off. And so as you guys already know, he's very anti-mask. He's a COVID truther. He's no different than Alex Jones type of thing on this issue. He says he's not going to get the vaccine. He here is, saying he's not wearing a mask here. He said that social distancing is for dorks. All of this other stuff. So he's very anti-mask. But the thing about the mask is, he obviously has it under his chin in that situation. But what if he has that under his chin when he's training with GSP, but he doesn't want to have contact with the other people around? And so then when he walks over there, he plops up his mask. And so even if a protection or a preempted attempt at preventing the transmission of coronavirus isn't like 100% scientific, or, oh, hey, this loophole could happen, this person could transfer it to them, and then therefore your protection wouldn't work. It doesn't matter. In a lot of situations in life, period, it's the effort and the thought that counts. So even just having that there, obviously that's not going to protect you from anything. But how do you know what he's doing when they're not literally sparring and training right there, when he walks towards the other people or he walks out of the ring or the other part of the ring? How do you know what he's doing? What if he plops it on? That's typically the whole point of having it on your chin, right? There's the only reason, is you're putting it in position where when you know you're going to move towards somewhere where there's people, you put it up easily, right? Instead of having to pull it out or whatever. It's a very common thing to do, and it makes sense, especially if, it's something that is good to do when you're walking outside. Because when you're taking a walk outside, a lot of people don't wear masks, which, is, questionable when you're in an outside area, like let's say you're walking in your neighborhood or whatever. But it is good to have a mask there, and then if somebody's coming up, you can plop it up to protect yourself, essentially. So even if it's not like 100% perfect, the thought counting is so important. It goes such a long way. And if every person during this pandemic were able to exhibit that thought and effort, imagine where we would be in preventing the transmission. And Joe Rogan is just such a bitch, such a dumbass, such a prick, an asshole. And he had that scam doctor on his podcast where he's like selling all these vitamins for insanely high prices, saying that, this is going to protect you from coronavirus. He's like I think he's like a neurosurgeon. I don't even know if he's a neurosurgeon. I think he might have just been a doctor that specializes in neurology. So he's not even specialized in the field of infectious diseases. And he's saying, oh yeah, masks don't work and social distancing don't work. He brings on like the one lunatic doctor you can find when 99% of doctors and scientists explain that yes, wearing masks, social distancing, all of this stuff does work. And so his whole thing is, go on my website to buy these vitamins, and this long ass list of all these vitamins to buy. It's like, holy shit, this is so obviously a scam that's just making him tons of money. And how do we even know what's in that shit? I mean, we all know that vitamins, the FDA doesn't even investigate those because they're not food, and they're also technically not drugs. They're supplements, quote unquote. So you don't even know if that's literally nothing. And so it's absolute insanity. And his comment sections are the same thing as InfoWars comment sections. He's a complete idiot. He's also started this dumb Texas versus California war that's really just annoying, pedantic, and stupid, especially when he was a Bernie Sanders supporter and all of that. And what's really happened is he's turned into this rich douchebag, and that has really destroyed his entire, product. The whole point of the Joe Rogan podcast is supposed to be he's like an average Joe rather than one of the elitist douchebags living in a golden mansion with golden toilets, meeting up in these like elite retreats at these extremely expensive restaurants, blah, 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 blah. That's what he's not supposed to be, a high tier actor and stuff like that in that field. He's supposed to be the guy who has the experience of the regular people. And I was reading an interview that he had or something where he was asked about his Spotify deal and how much he was making, and he's like, man, he acknowledged that essentially that he's basically become what he's made fun of and made his career off of, and so it entirely undercuts his entire product. It's counterintuitive. His studio looks like complete trash. I don't even know what that garbage design is. He's just a complete mess, and his show is just complete garbage. He also defended Ted Cruz when the horrifying storm hit, and it was indeed revealed for a fact that yes, their home was actually freezing cold because there was no power, and so they decided to run away to Mexico. Yes, literally. Think about how ironic and hilarious that is. He's running to Mexico, to Cancun, and tried to make up a lie about his daughter having a pre-planned vacation or whatever. That was totally debunked. And he defended him. Meanwhile, AOC and Beto O'Rourke are raising millions of dollars. They raised like $5 million. Beto O'Rourke was really working to get people shelter, etc. And so with all of that being said, it's just a simple case that Joe Rogan simply does not have any credibility left. And there's no reason to listen to his podcast. I'm definitely curious to know from you guys how you feel about the Joe Rogan podcast. Do you still watch it? If you tell me if you've never watched it, if you used to watch it but now don't. Obviously, he's on Spotify and only posts clips of his stuff on YouTube. So to me, he's got no credibility left because he's just completely undermined. It's so much that he's undermined of himself, and he's really committed this capital offense of the COVID stuff where he's just denying all of it and is trying to downplay it. That's really a capital offense. And so, that is just, it's absolutely disgusting. The dude is a clown, a jackass, a loser. That's what Joe Rogan is now, man. That's the reality of the situation.